Professional. I know it's late on a Friday. Not a lot of people are going to be seeing this, but that's okay. The right ones will. We are talking about how to step into your professional purpose and make your recreation more like recreation. There are several things that we're going through as I script out verbally the book that I'm writing on professional purpose. And as I do that, you're getting the verbalized version of the book. This will later be condensed and put into a book and edited. Let me go ahead and bring people on from Instagram Live. Instagram Live, what's going on? Everyone who is on, we are talking about professional purpose and how you can, if you find yourself reinventing, how you can make your recreation recreation. And one of the big keys that I find in the whole mix here is going to be identity. So if you want to be a professional, you're going to make your profession your profession. That means that the thing that you do aligns with the thing that you say. And the thing that you say is aligned with the thing that you believe. Now, most of us have not ever taken the step into that. We've been doing only what we've been told we could do. We've been functioning our whole lives in the land of permission receivers, as though it was something that had to be defined by other people. Very few of us have stepped into a life where we're the ones writing the story and we're the ones giving permission. I do believe that we are in the image of God and that it is our job to partly be those who self-validate. We shouldn't need the validation of others, or else we're always going to end up conforming to others in what we're doing. So let's take a look at this whole thing of identity and what role it plays in your recreation, your recreation, your reinvention. A year ago, we were coming back from a West Coast trip, and we went through Sedona. I was there with my family, and we saw a Buddhist monk out in front of a CVS. I went and wanted to get a picture. Of course, the picture thing she wasn't too excited about that, but I asked if I could give anything. And so I did. After we gave her food and help, I asked if she had anything she wanted to say to us, just very curious. And she asked our scenario, and she gave a chant, and she left us with this one word of advice. She said, going from where your trip that you've been on and going into what you're going into, what is it that you want to take from this and into that? What is it you want to take from this and into that? And I thought that was pretty cool. As a matter of fact, we went in and I reconstructed a little bit. And I said, what is it that we want to bring into the next place that we're going? The reason I share that with you is because identity works the same way as well. You probably just finished a great journey. That's what we had done when we had taken a West Coast trip with my wife and our 4 youngest children in a vehicle. It was crazy, all the way up from Washington, all the way down to San Diego. It was nuts. It was beautiful, but we couldn't keep doing it. Neither can you keep being who you are. And if you're in the place of reinventing yourself, a big part of it is you're going to reinvent identity. The good thing is that who you are is enough. And at the same time, there's more to you than meets the eye. We're going to be going into a different version of you, but just like the monk said to us, I say to you, you get to look at everything you've done, everything that you've been, and all of the values that you've had. And you get to decide what you will take with you into the next chapter. When we look at identity, I'm really big on doing identity tests or like DISC, Myers-Briggs. I do one from the Jungian archetypes. If you go to DonnieTuttle.com, you'll get that for free. I really believe that we can determine a lot from that. I love the way that Carl Jung would have put it, is that he would have said that your personality type is really more of a tendency. It's more of you saying, hey, this is how I'm used to winning. It's like having a dominant hand. So we have access to doing all of the things, but we have a way or two that we find to win. And once we figure out how to get what we want in a certain way, we tend to repeat that. And once we repeat it and repeat it and repeat it, it tends to become us. So that's a type of identity. There are a few more I want to tell you about, though. There's the type of identity that you get from others. Maybe your mom, your dad, your grandparents, your teachers, your family, your brothers, your sister. You get something from others. And some of us stay there. We get that, we keep it. That's what we are all of our lives. Most of us resist that. And so there's the identity that we become to try to prove other people wrong or to try to prove them right. So that I could not be thought of as the poor outcast, I decided I would become the witty cut down artist, or there's something that you developed into to either avoid a pain or continue a pleasure. So that's the second identity. The third one is very similar to that. I believe it's a professional persona. And if you look at the word for persona, it actually means mask. So it's the mask that we put on so that we could be accepted by others. It's the mask that we put on so that we could be liked. It's what we put on because that's something that other people can receive. And as I've been digging into YouTube and all kinds of things, I look at how algorithms are formulated, and I see so many people trying to find a way, and I've been tempted to do this as well, trying to find a way to fit into the algorithm of, like, basically we're saying, who must I be so that you will like me? And so that's a type of an identity as well. And then I think the master identity is a person that you really are. And it's the person that you can become. It is all of the potential that was locked up inside of you from the day that you were born until the day that you die. And it's how much of that you actually end up expressing. And there are so many different ways that can go. If you look at the studies by Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, she wrote the paper, it's very, very famous. The studies of the dead are the studies of those who are close to dying. I don't know what death and dying, that she basically asked us the question of people who were in hospice and close to death. What are the things that you regret the most? And the most expressed things people would say are, I wasn't true to myself. I didn't take enough risks. I didn't communicate how I felt often enough. And I worked too much. So if you think about really what that says about human identity, is that most of us are doing what we're told, and we're working into like just this little niche, this little space that society has hammered out for us and said, this is where you belong. And we try our best to uphold that. And the truth is, sometimes a lot of us get mislabeled, we get misnamed, and we don't like it. And what I want to offer to you is a way that you can identify those older things and find and connect with really that next version of what it is that you want. Because if you don't create an identity, you will eventually, you have nothing to progress towards. As a matter of fact, as a productivity coach, one of the reasons that the people that I work with and I myself will stop a new behavior is not because the behavior is not working, but because at some point it just doesn't feel like us. I was working with one guy, and he decided that doing more video was something that it was required of him. And he realized a few days into doing videos, encouraging videos to his people, he said, I just don't want to be that guy. And I said to him, what guy? And in his mind, the guy that would be doing the videos all the time had to be narcissistic and in love with himself, and just, like it was someone that was self-promoting. And he was very much an everyman. He very much liked to be identifiable with people. He didn't want to exalt himself over other people. So it was really, really hard. So we had to reframe that so that he could he could do it. And that's a really good example of how we can bring an old identity into this next part of our journey. So old identities, I don't want you to think about the labels you've gotten, nor do I want you to necessarily think about the ways that you've turned to push against that or to prove or disprove those things. What I want you to do is I want you to look at, you really should take some sort of personality diagnostic. And the personality diagnostic is going to give you clues on things that you see as personal values. For example, when you, I'll give you a real quick one right now. This is the easiest one I can think of. It is your favorite character. It's an assessment. Ready? Who's your favorite character? Who is someone that you see as heroic in a book, in a movie, in life? Who is your hero? Who is someone that you identify with? Maybe it's Rocky because you like to fight. Maybe it's Bugs Bunny because like he never took things seriously and he got things done, right? He still won in the end. Maybe it is Dumbledore because of the wisdom and the guidance that he provided to others. Maybe it is Spider-Man because not only was he strong, but he's got this wit about him. He's just so funny. And whoever it is, I want you to look at your hero and tell yourself, ask yourself, what about that person resembles you? And what about you resembles that person? The truth is, we normally admire heroes when we see qualities in them that we see in ourselves, or we see qualities in them that we wish we had in ourselves. Either way, that's a part of our identity. So that's just a quick assessment. That's just you finding your favorite character challenge. I would say go to my website, take the free diagnostic. You can also use your Myers-Briggs. You can use your any of those, Enneagram, any of the personality tests that are out there, and look at it and say, this is how I typically like to see myself. This is how I typically like to win. Do I see myself as a smart guy? Am I the quiet one? Am I the loud one? Am I the like, what do you see yourself as? That's been your past. Now, the good news is it doesn't have to be your future. You get to decide which parts of that go forward with you. Okay, so I'll share with you a few of mine and challenge you to find some of those things for you. So in my life, I value, I want to say the word isn't companionship, but really it's more being a helper, being a listener, being someone who is connected to the person that I'm talking to. I also value generosity. I also value inventiveness and intelligence. And so those are some of the core values that I have. Some of the heroes that I have that actually, here you go, one of my vision boards. One of my heroes that actually demonstrates that is George Washington Carver. He was so generous and so intelligent. He was the guy that he went to God one night and he said, God, show me the secrets of the universe. And he says that God answered him back, that's too big. I'll show you the secrets of the peanut. And actually, through his ability to harvest different uses of the peanut, he was able to save all basically Southern crops. And a lot of those people were cotton farmers who just a generation earlier would have enslaved him. He was the son of a slave. So his generosity to help people that maybe wouldn't have helped him, I love it. He's inventive and intuitive. And so I see that whenever I look at this next part of my journey, is how can I embrace my inner George Washington Carver? How can I be generous? How can I be intelligent and inventive in what I'm doing next? And so I'm bringing that past thing with me, and I'm saying, how does it apply to the next part? And at the same time, is there anything else I must become? The must become part has to be aligned with your next goals. My next goals have to do with business growth and creating more in terms of ideal clients and just business. It has to do with business growth. And so the way that I'm going to be more like George Washington Carver, and the way I've been doing it is I've said generosity comes with me, but also I need to be more promotional. I mean, I need to become another picture that's on, well, here is I've got to become this guy right here. So I'm very visual. I put these things on vision boards, but that's P.T. Barnum. I must become a better promoter for me to have what I want. I can't just invent in secret and just be generous. I have to be a better promoter. And so I'm kind of combining these two people, these two images of heroes that I believe in, that are I resemble, but I'm not quite like. And I'm projecting forward from that. And so my question for you is to have a quest of that. Look at what it is that you are wanting, and look at the parts of you that you love. Like, who is the you that you love the most, and how can we allow that person to drive more? The person you love, maybe that person is fun, maybe that person is smart and a listener, or kind, or generous, or whatever the you that you love the most is, whoever that one is. Okay, how can we let that person drive more? What can we add to that person in the next chapter? So either we're going to become more of what that is, or we're going to add something to it. So I'm adding like the P.T. Barnum onto the George Washington Carver. And so as you're developing, reinventing, and recreating as a professional, you get to not just say, hey, I believe in generosity and inventiveness, but you also get to grab onto a new value, a new identity, and bring that into where you're at, so that if you embrace it, you're more likely to continue in a behavior. And it's a lot more fun. Just makes it more fun. So those are some thoughts. I feel like I need to stitch that together a little bit better in the editing, but that's just part one of identity, how you can take that and rearrange that. And that is my commitment to you, is to be here and to be a part of this on this day. So hope you have a great Friday. The book will be coming out. Who knows how soon? And go help people. Hopefully I've helped you to help others. We will talk to you on the flip side. Bye, y'all.